Hello and welcome to Fresh Talk. I'm your host, Eric Toal. We have a great show for you today. We are interviewing with the wonderful Kathleen Hauer. She's with Global Links, and she's going to tell us a little bit today about Global Links. Welcome to the show, Kathleen.
Oh, thanks so much for having me on. Well, Global Links is a medical relief and development organization. This month, we started our 25th year.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. And we work in 9 different countries in this hemisphere, some of them the poorest in the hemisphere, to help improve health in those countries. Our kind of innovative design is to work with hospitals in the United States, mostly right now in the greater Pittsburgh area, to recover still useful materials that just end up going into the landfill. And literally these materials are things that people are literally dying for the lack of in the countries where we work. So it's good for the environment and it's good for...
Absolutely. I mean, I'm sure, Americans know that it's almost the American tradition to be wasteful, and it doesn't stop at medical supplies. And some of these countries don't have simple things as bandages or even just syringes. So your company is really trying to prevent that from ending up in landfills and ending up in the hands that it needs. How you're the co-founder, so
Yes,
obviously you're there from the roots.
Yeah.
What motivated you to start this? What was your initial thought process to get involved and start this up?
Well, there were 3 of us, 3 women that started Global Links. Emily Solomon and Brenda Smith were 2 colleagues, and we had all met working in another organization. And, we liked the work, but we thought there was more things that could be done. And, people start their own things for a number of reasons, having more control over your life, your workspace, what you would love to accomplish, kind of that entrepreneurial spirit. So we all decided that we really wanted to start something on our own. And we started kind of like collecting things, like in my dining room was like one area where we collected supplies early on. And it's grown now. We just moved into a new building, a 58,000 square foot building, and we have a staff. And in the early days, there were 2 of us that did everything. Brenda and I did everything. We drove the truck, we loaded the container, we went on visits, we did really everything. But in some respects, that doing everything from the ground up really gives you an appreciation of what everybody's job is to the organization, because you've done it all. From cleaning the floor to, doing the higher planning. So I think it's been a good thing for me to just see how every aspect works. And now we have a staff of about 20. And it's been a wonderful, amazing privilege to do this kind of work.
You know what? You're right when you talk about starting it up. From the roots of everything and being in there. You're more, involved in it. It's, your labor of love and passion. Because you started from the beginning, it just means that much more to you. And you're that much more. Some people come into companies and they get hired on to help things up, and their heart isn't always in it the way that the people who created it. And that's good that after 25 years, you're still in that passion from the ground up to where it is now, working on that.
And our employees are amazing because you come to work at Global Links because you're passionate about the mission. So everybody feels that sense of privilege, ownership, giving back, and wanting to do as much as we can in the organization. So I always say we're kind of in rarefied air, at the workplace. So.
Well, I mean, and it's unique too because what you're doing instantly strikes like concern and passion. I actually met one of her representatives at the Clean Air Dash that we had been advertising here for a while at our studio, and I was talking to a lot of different vendors, and after talking to one of your associates, I was so moved by what they were doing. You couldn't not want to get involved, and I'm like, I have to have them on my show. Like, there's no way I can not let people know about this.
Well, that's great. We appreciate that.
And I'm hoping everyone has that same reaction because sometimes you're not even aware. You go through everyday life not thinking about what other people don't have. People are so worried about obtaining more things for themselves. And they forget some people don't even have the basic things that we just take for granted.
Well, it's really interesting. I always say when we talk about this is the things you have around you all the time you tend to take for granted. And very simple things, you almost don't see them anymore because they're just there. And when you go to a place that doesn't have those very basic things, that's when you really start to see them when you come back too, you know. So it's it's a real interesting experience to be able to empathize in that way and be more appreciative in your daily life of all the things you have.
Absolutely. And recently, you've acquired some new
Yes,
facilities there
yeah,
for
I'm really
this. So
excited.
tell us a little bit more about, where you were as far as facilities and where you've come now since you just recently had your grand
Yeah,
opening.
yeah. Well, our big move, and something that we have been working on for a while, is to a new facility in Braintree, which is like 5 minutes from downtown Pittsburgh. And it's a 58,000 square foot facility. Most of it is warehouse and volunteer space, and then some office space too on the second floor. But it really will allow us to grow our programs, to invite more people in to be part of our work. I call it our new big tent. And we depend so much on volunteers, and we want the whole community to be involved. And I think it's so important that people recognize that you're really part of a much bigger community than, you know, your family, your neighborhood, your state, your country. You're really part of a global family. And the more we understand that, the more you can relate to people that are in different parts of the world, I think the better the world will be.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's one of the things, like, they're local here in Pittsburgh with this organization. But, as a lot of our viewers know, this does not stream just in Pittsburgh. So this endeavor actually is why it's called Global Links. It works in some areas in the U.S. and,
Yeah.
poor areas throughout the world. So everyone who's in the viewing audience today, you guys can be a part of it. You can
Okay.
donate, you can contribute, and even sort of volunteer in your own way to,
Yeah.
get these materials and get them into this facility so that they can continue the work that they're doing.
Well,
So
we could talk about a couple of those things that people even outside of this area can be involved in. Um, you can always visit our website. There's opportunities listed on the website. We have people from different parts of the country here that we have somebody in Florida that blogs for us about our nebulizer program. And any of your viewing audience that has asthma or a family member has asthma, you know what a big problem it is if you can't breathe or don't have the equipment that you need. When you're very young, or you can't use one of the small handheld nebulizers, you need a piece of equipment that's called a nebulizer. And for little children or babies that have asthma or breathing problems, it's absolutely essential. So, and when you get older and you can use the handheld inhaler, a lot of people just put those nebulizers in a closet somewhere. And we have a program to collect those nationally, and then we kind of redistribute those in the countries where we work, because asthma is a big problem everywhere, and people die from it, in other countries where, you don't die from it here.
yes,
So, and in a lot of places here, you would have that in your home, but in a lot of places where we work, because the community is very poor, you have to go to the hospital to have a nebulizer. So, if they don't have enough nebulizers, then you have to wait. And imagine carrying your child for possibly miles to get a nebulizer treatment because they're struggling to breathe, and then you have to wait in line. So this is
that's
stuff that people have, under their bed, in their closet, and that can be portioned out really to save lives and improve the health of lots of
absolutely. And
people.
I mean, there's all kinds of different medical issues you can have, but I know from experience when I was younger, and I was very ill one time and having a lot of asthmatic symptoms. I
Yeah,
know what it's like to not
yeah,
breathe and just stop breathing. Um, but I'm fortunate enough that I had medicine and
yes,
nebulizer that I had
yeah,
fast action to. I couldn't imagine having
yeah.
someone trying to carry me for miles while I'm not breathing,
Yeah, it's
in
it's
hopes that
really,
this
and
hospital
we
might have
we
this.
see this all the time when we travel. We see people waiting to have a nebulizer treatment, and a lot of them are children, and it's absolutely crucial to be able to have that, and for children especially, they can go down really fast if
Well,
they
I mean,
don't have
because they're so
treatments.
young. I mean,
Yeah,
not only you having that symptom, but as a child, if you don't know
it's
any better, it's
frightening.
frightening. So
It's
that
absolutely frightening. Yeah.
exaggerates the symptoms and
Yes,
makes it even more of a situation.
that's correct. So it's a win-win situation. You know, it keeps something, it puts something into use that people really need. It keeps it out of a landfill because, you know, people when they're cleaning out, they don't know what to do with these things. They'll put it out in the curb for collection.
Yeah.
So it ends up in a landfill. So we have a national program to collect these things. And in addition to serving institutions that we work with overseas, we also send some of those to agencies here for uninsured people that need them too. So you're really helping a global community.
Everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
All
So
right, well, we're going to go to commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to learn a little bit more about Global Links and how you can be involved.
see, I told you I don't have any problem talking. So we can talk about a couple other ways that people can get involved too.
Yeah, the second half, I really want you to talk about your volunteers, how
Yep.
many you have,
Okay.
how they can be volunteers, how they can donate.
Yeah.
Then we'll talk about the website, and at the
Okay.
end of it, I'll mention that everything will be. I'll have all your information put on the fan page, but I'll save that for the very end. But
Okay.
just talk about all the volunteers, everything that you know is going on here, but how people outside of your community, because I really want to get the outside people helping you. You ready? Yep. All right. See back to you. And welcome back to Fresh Talk. We're with Kathleen Howard today, CEO of Global Links. And we are going to discuss a little bit more about how you guys can get involved in the volunteer process. So,
Yes.
here locally, how many volunteers do you average?
Well, last year we had about 2,000 volunteers that came through over the course of the year, and they provided about 10,000 hours of volunteer work.
Wow.
And we were limited in how many volunteers we could use because of the space limitations that we had. We had a 3 to 5 month waiting list for some people to volunteer. So now, the new building, we can accommodate a lot more volunteers, and we're looking to expand our work, expand our volunteer pool. And people come and do all kinds of things. They sort medical supplies, they pack. Almost about 90% of all the medical supplies that we sort and pack are done by volunteers. We say that the volunteers are the lifeblood of the organization. So we love deeply our volunteers, and they are what allow us to do so much. So you can get in touch through our internet site. You can call the office. We love groups that want to come and volunteer together, individuals that want to join a group and volunteer. We really love medical professionals that come and volunteer too, because we have a lot of different areas that we always need help with, and our medical professionals are highly valued by the organization, but you don't have to have a medical background to do it. I don't have a medical background. You can learn a lot over the course of years.
Well, do you have any organizations, do you work with anything like Doctors Without Borders or anything like that that are in the areas that you're sending the supplies to? Do you have any type of sort of integration with their programs?
Most of, we don't work with Doctors Without Borders. Most of the materials that we provide go to hospitals in the areas. Because we work so much with hospitals here, it's a natural fit that a lot of the things we receive go to hospitals in the countries. And like I said, these are some of the poorest countries in the hemisphere, like Haiti or Nicaragua, Guatemala, Bolivia, and the support that we're able to provide is really life-saving, and it allows the hospitals to do a better job at taking care of their communities. So we not only look at the ultimate user, but we look at the physicians and the nurses to provide them more tools to do the work that they were trained for. And the more materials that, or resources that doctors have in these countries, the more likely they're going to stay in those areas that really need people. And providing materials is one of the things, or resources is one of the things that gets people to stay. So one of our other programs that anybody around the country that's a medical professional that works in a hospital could provide, we have an international suture donation program. So sutures are something that everybody needs all the time. And in poor areas, what they can get is really limited. And sutures every day from the OR get thrown away because of hospital protocol, regulations, or anything. But these are still sterile sutures. And we provide those sutures to hospitals all over the world. We have a lot of hospitals in Africa that absolutely depend on receiving sutures from us. And there is, these save so many lives. We have a maternal infant program, and if you need a cesarean section because you have a problem with the birth, there's no other thing that you can do than provide that cesarean section.
Absolutely.
If you don't have sutures, you can't do it.
That's actually surprisingly still a very common thing around the world,
It's very
especially for
common.
women's medical issues. Childbirth.
Yes, it's very
What is
dangerous.
it's very dangerous. It's such a common thing. It's happening all the time, but we take for granted we have these hospitals and everything ready from this cesarean sections that you said. But you think, oh, just sutures, setting those in. The sutures themselves aren't exactly saving the lives. Some of these people need surgeries and they can't have them because if they don't have the sutures,
Right.
they can't close up the wounds. So these people have a surgery need. They can have the surgery. It's just that once they do, they have no way of completing it.
Right.
So these actually,
Well, you can't have the surgery if you don't have the right kind of sutures.
so without these people who could have the
They
surgery
die.
and professionals that could do that, they would just die because
They
they
die.
cannot be administered these surgeries.
Some very simple things, and sutures are like a basic thing in any hospital, in any surgical or emergency room. Um, Gauze, I mean, I've been around the world where they've had to stop surgeries because they don't have gauze. I mean, things that are so simple, we never walk into a hospital here and think, oh, are they going to have syringes here? Are they going to have a bed for me to lay in? Are they going to have linens? I mean, we just take so much for granted that really doesn't exist in large portions of the rest of the world. Or to have care, your doctor will give you a list of the things that you have to go and buy to have surgery. You have to buy him gloves, you have to buy him sutures, you have to buy the things that you're going to need because the hospital can't provide it because they don't have it. So, there's such great opportunity for us to do more in this country to help.
Absolutely. I mean, to buy stuff, here in our country, we can just go to the drugstore and, put it on a credit card or debit card and buy anything we need.
Well, you
as
don't
far
have
as
to buy
gauze.
sutures in order to have surgery, fortunately.
Right? But these countries, they're already poor, so the chances are they don't
Exactly.
have the money to buy it anyway, even
Well,
if it
that's
was
exactly
available.
right. To buy those sutures, they're very expensive in some countries, and it's, do I feed my children or do I put off my surgery? And these are very real life choices for large portions of the population in our world, and we're throwing this stuff away here in the United States. And it's not because the hospitals are wasteful, it's because this is a system that we have created here, and there's a lot of regulations, and what we provide is an alternative to throwing those really important things away.
And a lot of those regulations, they're good, they
They
help prevent
are.
infection and things like that here because we've come so far,
Right.
especially in Pittsburgh alone with, medical science.
Absolutely.
But, some of these things are more precautionary than actual, issues. So what we are being, cautionary about, they don't have to worry about that much because they'd rather just have it and take the risk than not have it at all. And that's
Well, and we're very careful about what we send. But the other part of it is we are a litigious society here. So people sue for all kinds of things, and the hospitals can't accept liability for all those things. So if you have something that's close to expiration date, or even if it had nothing to do with a problem, that comes up in any kind of a liability case. So we have the system we all created,
Yeah,
So
that is true. Well, at least, we have people out there that are making that difference like you. This organization is amazing. Like, I was blown away when, your representative was telling me about it. I'm like, I knew people were out there doing that. There's a lot of different organizations doing things like that, but I didn't know in the heart of my own hometown that we had such an amazing thing that was making a difference all over the world.
Yeah.
So, while we have some more time to tell our audience how they can donate, how they can volunteer.
Well, you can donate through our website, the nebulizers. If you're a medical professional, get in touch with us if you think there's an opportunity to collect suture in your hospital. And I say suture because it's small, it's easily mailed to us, and we need it all the time. Other things that are bigger, are a little more challenging, but the other thing, of course, is financial support. It costs us money to send sutures, to send nebulizers, to do all of those things. So, we would love to have anybody out there as part of our Global Links family, because we consider all of our supporters, our volunteers, all part of our family, and it's part of our community. So.
And I mean, yes, I mean that's one of the biggest things is financial donations too. That that money helps, and it actually has a bigger impact on these
It does.
countries than it does here.
Yeah.
The
And
dollar stretches a lot further.
yeah, you can volunteer or you can make donations through our website. There's a really easy way to do that. And, get in touch with us by email if there's questions. I mean, we really want everybody to become part of what we do because we think
Absolutely.
it's so important.
And if you have an organization, or schools, anywhere, even your office, do a collection, make it a charitable thing where people can either donate things or collect money and raise money somehow, and get it to them. Everyone can be a part of Global Links.
One of the things I wanted to add is we have a big maternal infant program. So one of the really fun things that people can do anywhere in the country is have a baby shower. Because what we do is have materials. We create these baby bags that volunteers sew, and then we put really valuable things inside of them for new mothers to take care of their babies. And in a lot of places, a woman could go to a hospital and not have blankets for their infants, clothes, all kinds of things that we use those also as an incentive to get women to deliver in a safe place. So that's a fun thing. We have a little, we're registered with Target too, so you can even go online and, and have it sent directly to us. But it's kind of a fun thing to do and know that you're helping lots of infants and new mothers have a better start.
That's a great system, and I do agree with having mothers going to safer environments to be able to do that. That, especially if there's any complications.
That's exactly right.
Where you want to be. Well, that is just amazing. I'm so impressed and so amazed by your efforts and how it's like expanding across the world. I hope people watch this and really get involved. I hope that Global Links becomes a household name in charity, so that we can really make a difference for people. Because this isn't just in other countries too. They do a lot of work here in Pittsburgh.
Yes, we do in the
and
local
through the
area.
US.
Yeah,
So.
we make a lot of donations locally, and we're signing, kind of collaborative agreements with lots of different organizations. And as the organization grows, now that we have new, bigger digs, there's more and more that we can do in this country as well. So.
Absolutely. Guys, seriously, check it out. You go onto the fan page. I'll have all their information as well. Facebook.com/FreshTalkEric. I'll have links to their website, video, pictures, and everything information you need to get in contact with them and learn more about their organization. Kathleen, I want to thank you for being here today. It was such a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and come join us.
Absolutely.
Be part of us.
And thank you always for watching. This was Fresh Talk, and we love having viewers like you helping support organizations like this. So remember to stay fresh.